In a geopolitical landscape characterized by shifting alliances and power dynamics, one cannot help but ponder the implications of a seemingly unprecedented turn of events. What if China, Iran, Russia, and Saudi Arabia, traditional players in global politics, collectively decided to wield the formidable tool of sanctions against the United States and Israel? The tables have turned, and the international stage is now witness to a complex dance of diplomatic chess moves as the world holds its breath. Questions abound regarding the motivations behind this unexpected alliance and the ripple effects it may unleash on the intricate tapestry of international relations. How did these disparate nations find common ground, and what does this alliance signify for the future of global politics? The imposition of sanctions, typically a weapon the West employs, has taken a dramatic and unexpected twist, leaving analysts and policymakers grappling with a new and enigmatic geopolitical reality. In the Middle East, things are getting pretty tense, and there's a major shakeup happening in the political scene. A significant aspect in this unfolding drama is a recent phone call between Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi. This chat is a clear sign that something significant is changing in the region. What's even more surprising is that Saudi Arabia has decided to hit the pause button on trying to make nice with Israel. It looks like they're quickly rethinking their priorities when dealing with other countries. Word on the street is that the talks, which the U.S. was backing to make friends with Israel, are on hold. These talks were a pretty big deal for Saudi Arabia because they were hoping it would help them score a defense treaty with the United States. But now it seems like they've slammed the brakes on that because of the recent clash between Israel and the Iran-backed group Hamas. This has led Saudi Arabia to take a step back, reevaluate its game plan, and adjust how it deals with other countries based on what's happening in the region. This sudden twist has got people wondering about what it means for the stability of the Middle East and all the tangled relationships that have shaped things there for a long time. So things were looking promising between Saudi Arabia and Israel for a deal, but then the whole Israel-Gaza conflict got intense. Because of that, Saudi Arabia decided to shift its focus when they got back to the negotiating table. Instead of just moving forward with the deal, they want to talk more about what Israel can do to help the Palestinians. It's like they hit the pause button on their plan because of what's happening. What's interesting is that this tension in the region also made the Saudi crown prince and Iran's president have a chat for the first time since they patched up their diplomatic ties in April. And guess who helped make it happen? China. The call lasted about 45 minutes, and it seems like Saudi Arabia is trying hard to work with other countries and groups to calm down the crisis. At the same time, the United States has called on Saudi Arabia to condemn the Hamas attack, highlighting the challenges Washington faces in strengthening Israel's ties in the region. Even Gulf states that have established connections with Israel are expressing worries about potential involvement from Iran and how it could impact the overall situation in the region. Amid these significant geopolitical changes, it becomes crucial to examine China's strategic alliances with Iran, a factor playing a pivotal role in the evolving dynamics of the region. China's connection with Iran has intensified, notably as it assumes the role of a mediator between Iran and Saudi Arabia. The historic handshake that unfolded between Iranian and Saudi officials in Beijing following 7 years of strained relations serves as a tangible testament to China's burgeoning influence as a diplomatic intermediary. This event underscores China's active involvement in fostering a breakthrough in the historically tense relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia, aligning with its broader aspirations of reshaping the global order by positioning itself as a mediator in this regional dispute. China not only strengthens its ties with key players in the Middle East, but also reinforces its commitment to playing a more prominent role in shaping international diplomatic outcomes. China is making some big moves in the Middle East, and it's not just about flexing its economic muscles. By solidifying its influence in the region, China is also shaking up the traditional role of the United States as a peacemaker. One key way China is doing this is by boosting its economic ties. Check this out. China is importing more crude oil from Russia and Iran. This isn't just a random choice, it's China's way of securing energy resources and making sure it's not overly dependent on just one or two suppliers. Look closer and you'll see that China and Iran are becoming quite the economic buddies. Iran has been exporting a lot of oil to China, hitting a 10-year high. This isn't just about money. It's a strategic move by both countries. China gets the energy it needs, and Iran gets a strong partner to lean on in the face of regional challenges. It's like a tag team where both players have something to gain. Now, here's the interesting part. When the Saudi crown prince and Iran's president had their recent chat, China was right there in the background. It seems like Iran is playing it smart, using its relationship with China to navigate the tricky waters of Middle Eastern politics. With the aftermath of the Israel-Gaza conflict and alliances shifting around, keeping an eye on how China's diplomatic moves and economic deals unfold is pretty crucial for understanding what's happening in the region. China is not just a spectator, it's a player shaping the game. China is putting a lot of focus on talking things out, and this lines up with its bigger foreign policy ideas of not getting involved in other countries' business and promoting peaceful coexistence. When China steps in to mediate conflicts, it's not just about solving the immediate issue. It's also a way for China to boost its reputation on the world stage, showing off its diplomatic skills and saying, "Hey, we're here to help keep the peace." This isn't just a random move. It challenges the usual Western ways of trying to mediate conflicts globally. China is saying, "We've got our way of doing things, and it works for us." China's Belt and Road Initiative is like a big plan to connect different countries through major infrastructure projects, and Iran is becoming a key part of this ambitious idea. China is putting its money into Iranian ports and transportation networks, making them better and more connected. This isn't just about China being generous, it's a smart move that creates a win-win situation for both China and Iran. By investing in Iran's infrastructure, China is not only boosting its economic interests, but also helping Iran develop, creating a partnership that benefits both countries. So, with China and Iran working together on these big projects, it's like they're building a strong economic bond. China gets better access to important transportation routes, and Iran sees improvements in its infrastructure, setting the stage for more economic growth. It's a bit like teamwork where both sides score points. China expanding its global influence through these infrastructure connections, and Iran getting a boost in its economic prospects. China is not just building things in the Middle East, it's also becoming a big economic partner through trade agreements. These agreements between China and Middle Eastern countries are flourishing, creating deals that benefit both sides. It's not just about the money. It's a smart move that helps these countries in the Middle East by diversifying their trade relationships and not relying too much on Western markets. They have other options for growing their economies. So when China trades with Middle Eastern nations, it's like opening up new doors for both sides. Middle Eastern countries get a chance to boost their economies in different ways, and China expands its economic influence. It's a bit like a partnership where everyone gains something, and it also gives these countries in the Middle East more choices in how they want to grow and develop. The United States is dealing with a lot of challenges and trying to handle crises from different directions. While it's working on its focus in Asia, recent happenings in the Middle East are making things a bit tricky. There's a risk that the U.S. might get pulled away from its main plans because of what's going on in the Middle East. This reaction could bring some strategic challenges for the U.S. when it comes to how it deals with other countries and manages its foreign policy. Looking at what's happening in the Middle East, it's clear that things are changing, and the U.S. needs to understand how these shifts are affecting alliances and the role of outside players. China, with its ability to navigate the complexities of the region and its hefty economic investments, is becoming a major player in shaping the future of the Middle East. This means the U.S. has to pay attention not just to its plans in Asia, but also to what's going on in the Middle East, because China is making moves that could impact the whole geopolitical game. Among the purported sanctions, the actions initiated by China and Saudi Arabia stand out as particularly impactful on the U.S. economy. China's status as a major holder of U.S. debt grants it substantial financial leverage, potentially enabling it to exert significant pressure through economic restrictions. This could result in a deduction of foreign investments, a decline in crucial trade partnerships, and a ripple effect throughout various sectors of the American economy. Concurrently, Saudi Arabia's involvement introduces a dimension of economic complexity, given its pivotal role in the global oil market. The prospect of disruptions in the energy sector further compounds the challenges faced by the United States and underscores the far-reaching consequences of these purported sanctions. As the United States grapples with the implications of these reported sanctions, it must navigate a delicate balance between diplomatic considerations and economic stability. The imposition of sanctions by these countries could pose significant challenges for the United States and Israel economically. Both nations may face disruptions in trade, investment, and technology transfer, impacting their growth and development. Diplomatically, the move could isolate the U.S. and Israel on the global stage, straining their relationships with traditional allies and complicating efforts to address pressing international issues. The collaboration between China, Iran, Russia, and Saudi Arabia introduces a new layer of complexity to global security dynamics. The potential disruption of alliances and the realignment of geopolitical forces may have far-reaching consequences, influencing conflicts in the Middle East, Eastern Europe, and beyond. The international community must closely monitor developments to anticipate and mitigate potential risks to peace and stability. Thank you for watching our content.